Hi, this is Scott Lewis, Head of Content for iconfinder.com. In our blog post this week, we're reviewing a couple of Adobe Illustrator plugins by Astute Graphics, the makers of the popular VectorScribe plugin. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick overview of some of the features of VectorFirstAid. You can think of VectorFirstAid as a sort of pre-flight for vector files. The plugin automates cleaning up your files and correcting some common issues. First, I'm going to open up VectorFirstAid by going to Window, VectorFirstAid, and then VectorFirstAid panel. You can see on my screen here that I've got a bunch of avatars that I'm working on. I've got some artwork around the artboards on the canvas here and some artwork on the artboards themselves. I've got some empty artboards. And to get started using the plugin, I can just click on this Check Document button, and that's going to analyze my file and give me a report of the issues that it finds. And so you can see in the list here that it's found some stray points, some unneeded points, redundant points, that sort of thing. It found a bunch of artwork off of the artboards, 1,535 objects in fact. And so these are all things that could cause issues when I get ready to export my files. Creates a lot of extra file size that isn't needed and so forth. So there's two ways I can fix each one of these issues. I can either click this Fix All button, which will go through and fix all of the items in just a few seconds, but might yield some unexpected results, especially if you're not familiar with how the plugin works. Or I can select these items one at a time and just fix the ones that I want. And if I click on each of the items in the list here, you'll see that the information down here changes, and it gives me a short description of what the problem is. So first I'm going to check the 12 stray points. I'm going to click Fix Selected, and you can see it's very quick, and so it's deleted all of the stray points in there. I can go through the list and delete, say, the unneeded points, redundant points. Scroll through here and say there's 4 duplicate art objects. I'm going to delete those. And the next one is this off artboard art objects. And for this demonstration, I'm going to assume that the only thing I'm really interested in are the finished avatars on the artboards, and I'm preparing my file for export and then possibly sending to my client. So let's go ahead and delete all of the objects that are off of the artboards, and you can see that it's cleaned that up very nicely. And then lastly, let's say I have a bunch of unused artboards. So go ahead and delete those as well. And so now I'm left with this very clean file that only shows the artboards that I'm using, only shows the objects that I'm interested in. So that's pretty much it in terms of the live demo of features of this. But I want to show you a couple of other cool features that the plugin has. First, you'll notice the row of buttons across the top here, and the first one here is one that's going to be familiar to a lot of users of Astute Graphics plugins, and that is the Smart Remove Points. In another video, we're going to cover the Smart Remove tool button and the Smart Remove brush, but for this one, this is called the Super Smart Remove Points on paths, and the reason that it's super smart is that it actually automates removing all of the extra points in your entire document. So you click this button and it'll go through and remove all of the unnecessary points. So let's go ahead and click on that, and you'll see that it goes through and voila, has removed all of the unnecessary points. And each one of these points adds additional file size to my document. So if you have a very large file with a lot of artwork, you can cut down on the file size quite significantly. The next feature I want to show you is this third button from the top, which is labeled Combine Point Text Objects. And I have some text hidden here that I've set up for this demonstration. And this is 3 different lines of text. Often when you're importing PDFs into Adobe Illustrator, any text blocks that were formerly in the document are converted into single lines and sometimes single words of text. But VectorFirstAid makes it easy to clean this up by simply selecting the lines of text and then clicking this button to join the lines into a single text block. And so you can see this is now a single block of text. So that's a pretty neat feature. 2 other features that I want to show you are the next 2 buttons down, and or actually the button here called Schedule, and then with the manual checkups and the auto checkups. So you can actually schedule when VectorFirstAid runs. So if we click on the schedule button here, you can see that you can schedule the plugin to do the cleanup whenever the document is opened. So if you've been working on it for a while, you've saved, and you come back and work on your document again, when you open it up, it can clean it up for you when it opens. You can actually run it at set time intervals, so every 5 minutes, every 60 minutes or something like that. And then you can also set it to clean up your file based on the number of changes that have been made, so every 100 changes or what have you. So that's a pretty neat feature to be able to schedule when it's fixed, so you don't really have to think about it, or it doesn't have to be a separate step. It can just happen as part of your workflow. And then the other feature I want to show you is the ability to to set your own profiles. So if I click on manual checks, and you can do the same thing for auto checks, and click on configure, you're going to see this list of all of the functions that VectorFirstAid can perform. So remove stray points, remove unneeded paths, points, and so forth. The same things that we did when we did our check a few minutes ago. And so I can select items from this list and say that I only want to remove stray points. Let's say I want to remove duplicate art, unused symbols, maybe unused artboards, and remove anything with a 0 opacity. And then I can save this as my own profile, save as my first profile, click save, and so now that's an option in this list. And if I click done, now when I do my manual checking, I can actually select my first profile and do the same thing for automated checking to run only the functions that I want. So this is an overview of VectorFirstAid from Astute Graphics. If you like this video, please follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/iconfinder, or follow our blog at blog.iconfinder.com. And as always, you can search our site at iconfinder.com and find icons for your next project. Thank you.